Dodgers, Padres meeting up, but this time in a National League Division Series? Find out in the next episode of Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to Sideline Sports Podcast. If you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to another edition of Sideline Sports Podcast. I'm the host, Alex Naveja, where if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast, a source of all of your SoCal sports. And with me today is, I'd like to call him a social media specialist for Major League Baseball Fan Association. He's in charge of the Instagram pages, and also he is an aspiring Major League Baseball front office employee one day. We're crossing fingers. Hopefully it happens for him. But James Nagengast. James, thank you so much for being on the show. You know what? It's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Been a while. Good to see you again. Hope everything's doing well. Going well.
Hey man, it's good to see you again. It's been quite some time since we've even gotten an opportunity to chat. But, it's the best time of the year. I'm not talking about Christmas. I'm talking about October, baby. October baseball is the best type of baseball. And you know what? The West Coast has the matchup that they've been wanting, and it's Dodgers and Padres. Wow. This is the matchup that you've been waiting on. Show the shirt. Go ahead. I'll let you show the shirt. Slam Diego. Wow. Look at that. He jumped on it. He jumped on the shirt and putting it on. Repping the Slam Diego Padres, man.
Yes, sir. I have to. Come on. If you're going to break a record and it's going to be 4 Grand Slams in a row, I'm going to have to rep it. Come on. There's no way. Slam Diego.
Hey, that's a huge record that they even got to accomplish. And talking about Slam Diegos, almost got eliminated by the Cardinals. And I felt like they were going to be on their way out. And it was going to be one of those, NLDS, sometimes NLCS matchup of the Dodgers and the Cardinals. But Padres coming very close to being eliminated for sure.
Yeah, man, that first game, I was worried about them. And then going into game 2, the Cardinals got that 4-game lead early with the Colton Wong home run. And then Adam Wainwright, who has been, lights out this season. First time in a very long time for him. Love that. Man's 39, 40 years old, killing it in Major League Baseball. And he just lost it. And so did the Cardinals. It's just kind of their fight and their offense, the hot offense that they had at the beginning of those first 2 games, it kind of just disappeared. And you know what happens for San Diego when Tatis gets hot. Tatis gets hot, San Diego's going to win. So that happened in both games. Man, 2 home run game for Tatis in game 2, I'm pretty sure. Just crazy athlete. And that squad around him, you go, so many new faces. You have Grisham, Cronenworth, and Austin Nola, these 3 guys who are very new to Major League Baseball. Grisham, I think, had some time last year. This is Cronenworth's first year in the bigs, I think. Austin Nola, same. He's Aaron Nola's brother, actually, but took a little longer to get to the bigs. And these guys are just making such a big impact for this Padres team. It's crazy how much Major League Baseball and the community around it loves Fernando Tatis Jr. But honestly, I think there's so many unsung heroes on that team, which makes them scary. But we'll see if their arms can come alive for the DS against the Dodgers. I know they had some problems with Lamet and Clevenger, some arm issues. So I don't know if those have been resolved yet. But if those 2 don't come back, I don't think the Padres have a chance.
They're definitely going to need a lot of help pitching-wise. Dominant pitching is what gets you through October baseball. You have to have a great starting rotation, and you have to have an amazing bullpen. And you know what? The Dodgers can really attest to that. I mean, that's what got them deep in the 2017 World Series. And I have to say that it got them through the 2018 World Series too. And without those pieces, without those arms, you're not going to beat the bats of the Dodgers. So I think the Padres, the runs came in for the Padres. I mean, playing against the Cardinals, who is a team that seems to always play really well when it comes to October baseball. But this time came really short, came up really empty here in this one. But even then with the Cardinals, early on in the season, they had a lot of making up to do because of all the COVID testing positives. And
they played 11 doubleheaders.
That takes a toll on you. Like doubleheaders. That
has to, right?
All day in the ballpark. I mean, that's not a problem, but I mean, that really takes a toll on you. That just drains your energy, and that's very hard to play doubleheaders.
For sure. And there's that one point where, like, you know, half their team has COVID. You know, how are you? You're a pitcher. How are you keeping your arm warm? Like, there's stories of Jack Flaherty having to throw balls at mattresses in his hotel room while the rest of his team was recovering from COVID. And like, thank God this was a 60-game season for the Cardinals, because if this was a 162, like, those doubleheaders would have came back to bite them. And I think it even did in just those postseason games. Like that first game, they came out hot because everyone's juiced up, but the next 2 days you don't have off, and you have to come back and play the Padres, who are a really good ball club this year. Like, that's tough, man. It's tough.
It's very tough. I mean, it was almost like the Cardinals weren't even going to make it to the postseason. I could definitely say if we had the 5-on-5 playoff platform, Cardinals wouldn't be there.
Oh, yeah. They would have I think they would have been that. Would they have been that last wild card? Second wild card?
I mean, for sure the Padres would have been that number one wild card for sure. But that second one is a question.
It was them. Oh, it was the Cardinals or the Marlins. That's what it was. So yeah,
and the Reds too.
Yeah, if you look at a real season, like, you know, Cardinals are fighting to be in it, but here they're in the thick of it. And I don't know, just this season is speaking so much to me that, like, you need to earn your way into the postseason. You don't need to be over 500. Like, you need to be a good ball club. And I don't know, I guess the Cardinals just couldn't do it, especially after playing like 22, or how many games did they play? I think they played over 30 games in 30 days. Like, those guys are tired for sure. They're definitely enjoying their rest. Too bad it's in October, though.
Yeah, they didn't want to go home early. They would love to be over in Arlington right now playing the Dodgers and just getting ready for the NLDS. But now if you go over to Los Angeles and you look at how the Dodgers did, Dodgers had a Brewers team who I think maybe wasn't postseason ready, but hey,
I think you can say that. I think you can say that, especially about when you have like a star like Christian Yelich struggling as much as he did this year, and then you have his background guys like Castanera, who hit over 330 last year, and he hit like 215 this year. I don't know. Their offensive production just tanked, just absolutely out of nowhere, and you're not going to be able to put a fight against a Dodgers team if you're not scoring runs. Like, we both know that. So I don't know. The Brewers snuck in that exciting race for the last 8th spot, but at the end of the day, it seems like it was pointless to me. Like, we knew who was going to win that series.
The Brewers didn't even have the cleanup hitter in Ryan Braun, and I think he was definitely missed. I mean, Braun's a good hitter. That guy still has what it takes. But if you have a struggling Christian Yelich, I have to say there's not really much help that you can really get from the Brewers. But you know how I knew he was struggling, though, James? He was swinging at pitches that he would never swing at, even when he was in his MVP prime. So
he's hitting the ball hard, but he can't see it.
It's almost like he's just guessing what's being thrown at him, and he doesn't know. Like, I'm still going to remember Game 1 when it was Yelich versus Jansen. He swung at a fastball that was high and away, and it's like, whoa, I've never seen Yelich swing at something like that. That was just a garbage pitch by Jansen, and Yelich chased after it. I've never seen that in his career.
Even during the regular season, those Trevor Bauer curveballs, like a couple feet in front of the plate, and there's videos of Yelich swinging, and it's like, weren't you an MVP and then the runner-up for the MVP the next year? You're telling me you swing at this? There's no way. This is a rumor, complete rumor, but I was just around on Instagram the other day, and people were like, I wonder if the Brewers are cheating because Christian Yelich can't see the ball. Like, the only thing that has like changed is his pitch recognition. The fact that he can't see the ball anymore. So it's like, that's a little weird. Almost like he knew what was coming.
Yeah. Hey,
that's a little weird.
Hey, nowadays,
I mean, you can't have any cameras. Can't have any cameras this season, so he didn't know it was coming.
You don't know anymore. Like,
yeah, you have no idea.
Anybody can be accused as cheating now, and that's the scary thing about the game now. It's like anybody can be a cheater. It's like, hey, you were good before. What's wrong with you now?
Yeah, you're bad
why
now.
Are you so bad? You know. So hey, who knows?
And the Astros are in the playoffs too, just making it worse.
Oh, I know. Maybe Rob Manfred decided to make it like the bubble, so that way the Astros aren't ever at home. Who knows?
Yeah, they'll never. Oh, jeez. But going back to the Dodgers and Brewers. Brewers didn't have their best reliever either in Devin Williams. He had under a .5 ERA all year. One of the most disgusting pitches I've ever seen in his changeup, and man had some arm problems. And like, the Brewers bullpen is good, but when your best guy is gone and you're facing the Dodgers once again, you're gonna have a hard time.
Again, it's bullpens wins you ball games. That's what takes you deep. You know, with the starting, if the starting pitcher can't go deep in the game, you really have to depend on the bullpen to pick up his slack and really get through the game and make sure to keep your bats in the game.
100%. Even looking at this, I'm looking at the first game of the Cardinals-Padres series. The Padres used 8 pitchers that day, 9 pitchers the next day. Like, you know, the starting pitcher that goes 7 innings is dying, and I'm not a fan of it. But I mean, if these teams are doing what they have to do to win, you know, championships, ball games and championships, like, they're going to keep doing it. So whatever works, I guess.
Absolutely. And the Dodgers really looked like they just played their game. They saw the ball well. They knocked in some runs, and that's what the Dodgers do. They play great baseball. They don't always rely on the long ball. I mean, the long ball.
Surprisingly, this year, I think they hit the most home runs, but like, it doesn't seem like their offense needs it. You know, like, they could be fine without it.
Absolutely. And when you have that 1-2 punch of Mookie Betts and Corey Seager, who can really drive you, just Betts can get on, and then Seager's going to drive you in with a double, and that's already a 1-0 ball game like that.
And then you have Kershaw on the hill, and you're good.
Hey,
forward to seeing Kershaw in this postseason if he can keep it up, or was the Brewers just a bad lineup?
Either one, but I see a different Kershaw. I see a different Kershaw this year.
Same thing for me, because, you know, the whole shoo the coach away from the mound, like, I got this. Like, he's different, man. He's saying, I'm putting this team on my back this year, and we're winning our ring. It's gonna be an exciting series.
That's not something you usually see from Kershaw. I mean, those are not Kershaw mannerisms there, but the fact that he did that shows a lot of confidence, shows a lot of initiative, and said, hey, I got this. I'm going to get out of this inning. No problems. Let me finish what I
pick him off, 1 out. Like, oh, gosh.
Filthy.
He said, hold my beer.
I know. Got it done, man. Got it done. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, James. When we come back, we are going to talk about this matchup coming. Dodgers, Padres matchup for not only the National League West, but also trying to go on to the National League Championship Series. I'm Alex Nameca from Sideline Sports Podcast, along with me, James from MLBFA, stepping aside. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name's Stephen Leonardi. I'm the commissioner of the Major League Baseball Fan Association, and you are watching the Sideline Sports Podcast.
And we're back here on Sideline Sports Podcast. Again, I'm the host, Alex Naveja, where if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast, the source of all your SoCal sports. And again, with me is James Nagengast. He's also the social media guy. He takes control of all the Instagram posts over for MLBFA, the Fan Association. And, of course, an aspiring front office associate as well. One day he's going to make it. Just wait up on it, James. But
Hope so.
crossing those fingers.
Yep.
That first half, we were talking about how the Padres did against the Cardinals and how the Dodgers did against the Brewers as well. So now in the second half, let's talk a little bit about that matchup now. Dodgers and Padres. Very interesting one. You think, it's just another National League West matchup, but no, not when you're the Slam Diego Padres taking on against a Dodgers team who, I'm going to say it's the 1-2 teams. Dodgers are number one team in the National League and the Padres second best team. Don't at me.
I agree. I honestly agree with you. I agree with you for that because as good as that Braves lineup is, their pitching has been decimated this year. And I think if you put the Padres and Braves lineup next to each other, they could go pretty toe-to-toe, and I think that Padres might edge them out. But then you look at the rotation for the Padres this year, and it's Lamet, who's been incredible, Clevenger, who they acquired at the trade deadline, who's had a pretty good year, Davies, who came out of nowhere, has been incredible, Richards has had a pretty good year for them, and the actually only letdown has been Chris Paddock, which is really surprising to me. He kind of got lit up in that game against the Cardinals. So I'm curious to see how this Dodgers lineup is going to light him up.
Well,
we'll see.
Chris Paddock hasn't had the best of luck against the Dodgers, so it's going to be interesting to see how are the Padres going to manage this. How are they going to, what is going to be their strategy? I think Lamet pitches relatively well against the Dodgers. Clevenger, I don't think he's ever faced the Dodgers before, so
that might be good. That would hopefully help. That would probably help the Padres, I would think. But I know for game one, the only pitcher that we have slated so far is Walker Buehler, which if I am the Padres and I know that Walker Buehler is coming out in game one, I am not very happy about it. But if the Padres are going to win the series, they're going to have to take game one. I think they have to take game one. They have to take as many games as they like. Obviously, they have to win 3. But if they take that early game, it puts the pressure on the Dodgers, and then maybe playoff Kershaw resurfaces in game 2 because there's too much pressure, and then bam, Padres are 1 game away from going to the NLCS. So I think tomorrow is very important. Buehler has had a decent season. I would say. League-wide is a pretty decent season, but I'd probably say it's one of his worst on record. But he still had a 3.44 ERA with a .95 WHIP and 42 strikeouts and 36 innings pitched. So he's not messing around. He's not a pushover, that's for sure. We'll see if this Padres lineup can stay hot after that Cardinals game. If not, I think game 1 is going to go to these Dodgers probably. And then the rest of the series is going to follow suit. But it's all for me. It's all tomorrow. It's all tomorrow. I guess we'll see if they throw Lamet or Clevenger. It's not listed as of right now, but we'll see. Buehler is not someone to mess around with. That's for sure.
Buehler is a scary pitcher on the mound, especially when it comes to October baseball. I mean,
for sure. Even with that blister.
Even with that blister is going to be nothing. He'll pitch the game with blood dripping down his fingers, just like how Trevor Bauer did it.
Yep.
With blood dripping out of his fingers. I have a strong feeling Buehler will do the same thing. But I feel like this is the strategy of the Padres. I feel like on purpose they are not posting who their starter is going to be. I think they're trying to fake out the Dodgers. Maybe try to bust what the Milwaukee Brewers did that one time when they said that they put Wade Miley and then they did a switch in it. Yeah, maybe it's one of those. I wouldn't sleep on that. I think the Padres really do need to jump on every opportunity. I mean, these last couple matchups against the Dodgers have been a bloodbath, I would say, because these are the two best teams in the National League duking it out. I mean, look at the order for the Padres. I mean, you have Grisham, Myers, Machado, Tatis. You have Cronenworth, who is an impressive youngster. Like that.
Oh yeah.
That kid has some great tools. He's got a glove. He's got a pretty good infield arm. He
100%.
can hit. He can hit for power, hit for average. That kid's got it going. And then Will Myers, of course.
No, he can pitch.
And he can pitch. So
He can pitch.
that's like the dream prospect that you always wanted.
Right? So that's who, yeah, I'm surprised they haven't let him pitch at all. But yeah, that Padres lineup is deadly. But then you look at the Dodgers lineup. Whew, wow.
Where do you start?
Mookie Betts, Corey Seager, even Cody Bellinger in a down year. And then you just go through the rest of that lineup, and it's just ridiculous. I don't know how anyone's going to compete with them this year. It's insane. It's insane to me. They're so good.
I really think the Dodgers offense looks just absolutely phenomenal, especially with having Mookie Betts, a former MVP winner, and he could be a candidate this year too, and just having so many weapons, and just as we were talking about it, that 1-2 punch of Betts and Seager. It's so deadly.
I mean, inning one, Betts gets a double, and then Seager gets a double, and then bam, they're already up on you 1-0, and then you're fighting an uphill battle against the Dodgers. That doesn't sound like fun for anybody. So, yeah, I mean, it's all, for me, like, of course, baseball is baseball, so we'll see what happens. But whoever strikes that first punch, I'm thinking is taking game one tomorrow. I think, you know what? This is how I feel about it. If the Dodgers score first, they're winning for sure. If the Padres score first, they have a chance.
All right. So, which makes me transition to this next question.
Mm-hmm.
What are your predictions for this series? I'll put you on the spot.
It goes Dodgers in 4. I don't think it goes all 5. So Dodgers 3, Padres 1, and then Dodgers onto the NLCS. The Dodgers are just too good. Like, you think of when you think of super teams, obviously you think of basketball, but this year, man, you look at that. Oh my gosh, they're just so good. You know, you like think of the rotation: Kershaw, Buehler, May, Gonsolin, Urias, and then a bunch of other guys who you can have as openers. And then you go in the bullpen. You have Brusdar and Kenley. Even on his decline, is still a good pitcher. And the rest of that bullpen is ridiculous as well. And then you go and look at the sticks you have in that lineup, and there's no way you can argue against them. It'd be dumb. Regardless of being an Angels fan, I still I gotta go with the Dodgers and the Slam Diego Padres shirt. But I gotta stay honest. I gotta be honest.
Well, I'm gonna have to say Dodgers in 5. And that's only because the Dodgers have been struggling against the Padres the last couple of matchups. I have a lot of faith in both Kershaw and in Walker Buehler, but I do have some question marks with who will take the ball in Game 3 and in Game 4, and we'll just see. We got to see how Dustin May and even Tony Gonsolin do in the postseason. We haven't seen these guys too much. I don't even think they've pitched a postseason game. So
yeah, they haven't had to.
We'll see what it looks like. I think it goes down to the wire in 5 games, but Dodgers advance, and they're gonna go to the NLCS.
Who do you think they've versed in the NLCS?
NLCS, I gotta say the Braves. I love the Marlins being that underdog team. I love it, but
I don't know, man. The Marlins pitching is so good. The Marlins pitching is really good, and their lineup gets it done well enough. So I don't know. I'm worried for the Braves. The Braves are my number 2 team, so I'm scared.
Yeah, but then of course the mercy rule the matchups always come back to haunt the Marlins, and the Braves. They've got a real.
Talk about a lineup. Yeah, talk about a lineup.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all the time we have left here on Sideline Sports Podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning into this one. If you guys enjoyed the content and enjoyed James' presence and coming onto this podcast. Please give this episode a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below. We're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger guests just for you guys. And we've got bigger and bigger and bigger content for you guys. So again, thank you so much to James Nagangas for coming on to the podcast. And you know what? Always a pleasure to have you, James.
Thanks for having me on. Everyone also check out MLBFA's Instagram at MLB_FA. And if you haven't checked out our Twitter, check us out at MLBFA01 on Twitter. Thanks for having me on, Alex. Yes, we are going to keep getting bigger, and I hope everyone watching is along for the ride with us. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I guess go Dodgers.
I'm going to go ahead and put James's Instagram down below. I'll also put MLBFA's Instagram, Twitter. I'll even put James's Twitter too. Yeah, we'll put all of his social media handles, all of MLBFA's social media handles, and so that way you guys can follow up with MLBFA and with James. But other than that, I'm Alex Naveja, the host of Sideline Sports Podcast, taking off for tonight. Thank you so much to everybody. Signing off. Have a good night, everybody, and enjoy the playoffs.